Hello indie game fans, we have a whole bunch of action games, one cozy title and a lot of dice in this edition of surprise releases, so see what you can play right now. Let's begin with SC Proxy, a top-down shooter with a cyberpunk setting, certainly looking to be paying tribute to Hotline Miami. Rather than a single protagonist, this instead has three, where each has their own special abilities and their fates are intertwined as the story plays out. I'm not the biggest fan of the look here since it does look very brown as compared to something like Ruiner for example, but the action does look neat, so do give it a go. I mentioned Kilta when it launched in early access, noting how I quite liked the pixel art, but this has now launched version 1.0 and would be a good time to jump in. It is an auto-battler RPG where you're recruiting heroes and strategically placing them on the battlefield, upgrading them as you go along. It does seem rather underrated, which may be due to auto-battlers not being so much of a thing these days, but it's a smaller game worth checking out. This video is brought to you by Loopmancer, a roguelike platformer set in a cyberpunk world with a time loop element. You play as a private investigator looking into the disappearance of a female journalist where he gets killed on the job, but then strangely enough finds himself awake in his own bed on the morning of that very same day. As such, there's more than meets the eye to this mystery and our hero must get to the bottom of this, and since it's set in a world of nano biotechnology and bionic prosthetics, does lead to some interesting upgrades as well as enemy designs. I think that this looks great and am curious about the structure since there are 7 districts to explore, possibly having multiple endings as well, making this of interest. Student projects continue to impress with Just a Humble Swordsmith being a title of interest here, an idle game where you're forging swords for various adventurers, equipping them to the best of your ability such that they can succeed in battle. So for free, why not check this out? The developer of Unsafe did drop me an email, and while on the surface, this totally looks like a game that I would have skipped over, it seems to be well received and could be worth a play. This is a 4-player co-op first-person title set in a space station filled with nightmarish creatures, and while you do have weapons, it's a lot more tense and scary and is not all shooty bang bang fun. On the polar opposite of that is A Building Full of Cats, a very charming game where you're searching for and petting all the cats in the building. This developer has been exclusively making games with cats in them, which is another interesting school of thought, although I am concerned about how quickly they are pumping these out. I'm not sure if I've shared this on the channel before, but for some reason, DICE really hate me and I never have any luck with them, whether it be in physical board games or in video games, but somehow their unpredictability always draws me in, with Circadian Dice being the title of interest here. This is inspired by single-player deck-building games, but uses dice instead, where you choose a hero, get relics, and fight your way through handcrafted scenarios, looking like it's for board game fans. Another amazing boomer shooter in early access is Rot, one that is set in Czechoslovakia in 1986, which were, I quote, "dark and terrifying times in the words of the developers, and so is this game." Episode 2 out of 3 just released a few weeks ago, with more new areas to explore, but if you enjoyed games like Dusk, this is one to get. Speaking of DICE, the awesome roguelite title Dicey Dungeons from 2019 surprised everyone with a free DLC named Reunion, adding 6 new episodes, one for each playable character, with new art, equipment and gameplay, being another example of why indie developers are awesome. I did not realize that Gunlocked had an early access release in April, so I wanted to give it a quick mention, being a Vampire Survivors-like title but as a vertical shoot 'em up, looking like it has potential as well, taking the #1 spot. For more roguelites, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.